Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris.
And I'm Sharaad Kuttan.
Welcome to Consider This, the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Now, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today announced that for foreign workers who are non-contributors to SOCSO, employers may deduct 50 ringgit monthly from the worker's salary to pay for COVID-19 tests. These tests have become mandatory for businesses wanting to open up. Previously, the Malaysian Employers Federation had estimated that Putrajaya's directive could cost employers 1 billion ringgit, adding that the government's policy was ill-timed. Joining us on the line now, we have Datuk Shamsuddin Bardan, Executive Director of the Malaysian Employers Federation, or MEF for short. Good evening, welcome to the show. Now, Ismail Sabri had noted that 60% of the 2.3 million documented foreign workers in the country are covered by SOCSO. So I'm just wondering, is your estimate of 1 billion ringgit on the high side? And isn't it reasonable, Shamsuddin, for businesses to absorb these costs?
Well, of course, I think when we talk about people who are covered by... Under the law, actually, by 1st January 2020, all foreign workers in the country must be insured under SOCSO. Because that's where the insurance previously that were covered, on them, on workmen compensation would end. So I'm not really sure where the shortfall is when we have about 2.3 million legal foreign workers. But then, the government say that only 60% had contributed. Perhaps some of the employers may have actually not contributing to SOCSO when the law says actually they are mandated to contribute to SOCSO.
Can we turn to the question of what really is the nub of the concern for MEF? Is it the question of cost and who bears the cost, or is it just the general policy, the idea that all foreign workers need to be tested? And I understand that Malaysians need not be tested. Does that make sense to you?
Of course, I think the whole issue about being tested for COVID-19 is something that is always very, I would say, volatile. At one stage, the government said that all workers, including foreign workers, must be screened. And of course, we had pleaded with the government to say that SOCSO should bear the cost, which the government had responded positively. And that was meant for, I would say, the rapid testing, that costs about 60 ringgit for 2 tests, because you need to do the first test on the first day, and then 7 days you come back and do the second test. And after that, the government say, no, all foreign workers must do the swab test. And of course, the swab test is much more expensive as compared to the simple screening that the government had talked earlier. And then what actually shocked the employers was basically to say that, the employers need to bear the cost of swab testing. Of course, we protested very strongly. And of course, later on, what the government had decided was, yes, now this will be covered by SOCSO, but only meant for the foreign workers that are in the construction sector for the time being, and also in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. So the whole thing is basically now we are really not sure where we are as far as testing is concerned, whether all foreign workers would require to actually be tested for under swab test, or is it the local workers, just go for the simple screening with the SOCSO panel doctors, things like that. So I would say that the situation now is very, I would say, not clear, actually.
Right. Shamsuddin, have you asked for clarity from the federal government?
Of course, for the time being, we just let the matter develop first like that. And of course, we would like to get a clarification from the government very soon,
It seems like the Malaysian Employers Federation has health experts on its side. They're saying mass testing of workers is not, in fact, the solution to workplace safety. And with regard to foreign workers, they're saying, in fact, what needs to happen is the conditions that predispose foreign workers to high risk or open them to a higher risk of infection, that needs to be resolved, and they need education. Now, are employers willing to bear that cost, help improve the living condition of foreign workers?
It is very much a work in progress as far as living conditions of foreign workers. Of course, that can be, accelerated in that sense. But you see, when we come to foreign workers, we always talk about employers' responsibility who actually employ legal foreign workers. But the public and the government seems to forget that basically there were out there more than about 4 million illegal foreign workers. And as far as legal foreign workers are concerned, employers always take care of their health requirements. And because they are covered by medical insurances and covered by SOCSO and things like that, whereas the foreign workers that are actually illegals, nobody really monitor their living conditions or their health condition. And I think the potential for the illegal foreign workers to actually have many clusters about COVID-19 are really real, actually.
Okay, we're going to be discussing the issue of including public health responses for undocumented workers shortly on the show. But I do want to touch on something else that Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri mentioned, that authorities will shutter the entire operations of any firm that has even one single worker infected by COVID-19. Shamsuddin, do you think that this policy will disincentivize reporting?
That can be the end result, yeah, because basically what we want to do is basically to really control the spread of COVID-19, and we should be very transparent about it. Whereas if, say, for example, there is the reaction of the authorities who say that even if you have a single person, say, for example, you have 15,000 employees, then the entire operation of the company is going to be shut down, that I would say is very, very unfair to the employers. Of course, what you can do is that, yes, if this particular employee is actually being reported to be moving around in certain place within the company, I think that particular section can be closed. That is fair, yeah, I would say. But to say that the entire operation is going to be shut down, I think is very, very, I would say, draconian. Yeah.
Shamsuddin, the last question for you. You mentioned earlier the lack of clarity. Government seems to be changing its mind constantly about what it considers important to do at any one point in time. Does the Malaysian Employers Federation have a direct line to government? Are you seeking to establish communication so that there is clarity and the decisions are made and it's clear to everybody involved?
Yes, so we do have communication with the government, but, all these kind of things, as far as decision-making is concerned, they doesn't seem to be willing to discuss with the stakeholders. The government prefer to just announce the policy first and see the reaction of the stakeholders. Yeah, so that, I would say, is not a savvy way of doing things. We should have been discussing the matter openly and perhaps come to a decision so that that particular decision is being accepted fully by the stakeholders.
Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight, Shamsuddin. We appreciate your time as well as your insights. Now, after this, we're going to continue our look at testing foreign workers en masse. Does it make for safer workplaces? We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.